Yes, that's right. The foulest stench is in the air, the funk of 40,000 years, and grisly ghouls from every tomb are close to seal your doom. And though you fight to stay alive, your body starts to shiver. No mere mortal can resist the evil of the thriller of the Monday Locker Room Infidels. We're back. It's your Backlash WrestleMania. Yeah. Backlash Monday Locker Room edition for May 17th, 2021. YOLO. Yeah, man. Holy shit. What is going on? What is going on? What's going on? What is going on, man? It's been quite a weekend at HMG. Quite a weekend of getting back on the road, having meetings, doing plenty of production, and then catching what was head scratching last night at Backlash. Very predictable outcome, except for a couple small what are we doing here, and then some HMG heat from some WWE Legends Online. We're going to cover it all here today. I'm not sure where my co-hosts are. Sent the link, but I see they haven't seen it yet. But they also had a big weekend. Big shout out to the Man Beast and Rick Vickery as they put on a show together in Ohio. I think Rick's first one, kind of being at the helm, and saw some good pictures afterwards of them having a beer together. So I hope all went off well, and you never know, maybe we'll get that update here on the Monday Locker Room. But it was great weekend for me, man. Getting back on the road, it was a tough weekend, no doubt about it, because that trip to Jersey, I'll be out in Jersey, puffing Hershey, brothers ain't worthy to rock my jersey. But I was out there, man, at Titan Championship Wrestling. Very thankful to be back on the road after 14 months, man. There's nothing like that carny feeling of the locker room with being with the boys and the sisters, and everybody worked their ass off, man. You can just feel it of people wanting to be back doing what we love doing. And the crowd was awesome. I just got to say a huge shout out to Frank's Pickle Barrel Ass. I see he's in the chat room right now, man. I was surprised on the show. I mean, once you get there, you could see me because we were standing outside watching the show, but Frank was there, man. HMG, super loyalist, and was just very cool to meet him and his family, man. His lovely wives and daughters were there, and those little girls hung in, man, because I was dead ass tired after standing there for 5 hours. We got there about 5:30, didn't go on until 10:30 for the Iraqi prison match with my man Blaze Haram. Obviously, heels over strong on that moron Rick Recon. His soldier boy boyfriend that he had at ringside, I had to put a beating on as well. So, but to meet Frank, you know, he's here every day, and to meet his family, man, and it was really great. And he hooked us up big time with a little something for the ride home, and that was fucking great. And also the Gooch Marinelli, who has kind of been banned from Facebook, ran up on me, man, and some you know, obviously locker room brothers. Brian Peterson was there, man, and it was just cool to see some of the old faces. We've all been separated for a year when we'd see each other kind of every month, man. But really, Frank made. I wanted to surprise him. I knew he was going to be there. It was a beautiful night. Just long time for little kids to be there, man. But that's Indy 101. But thanks to Titan Championship Wrestling, man. And I look forward. I think I'm going to be back there on June 19th. So I tried to trick the Andrew Bello into making it and some others, but I couldn't really stooge off that I was going to be there. So, but always good to hang and bang with my man Blaze Haram. Give him a follow, Allah's favorite son, man. And he's doing great things. And those guys beat the shit out of each other, man. That stiff ass kendo stick shots, chair shots, double bumps on tacks. And I was like, I'm glad I'm on the outside of the ring for this one, because I don't feel like getting gigged up at all. But they left it all out there, blood and guts. And I'm anxious to hear from this guy, man. It's Monday morning, post zombie apocalypse, but he had a big show this weekend too. It's the Man Beast. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, good to be here, man. Yeah, it was a good show. This was the first time that I have been brought into an independent organization and served as both the booker and producer for the show. So it was an interesting experience because really out of the whole roster, there was only one person I'd worked with in the past. So I'm coming in thinking, all right, I don't know how people are going to react to, having someone that they may not know and come in and agent them. But I have to say everybody was a pro. They were willing to listen and take my input. And I think overall it was a really good show. And I'm hopeful this will just open the door for more opportunities to come in and hopefully help out with some places, booking, producing. We have the Dream promotion that we're hopefully looking to launch in the next couple months. So I'm feeling really great about it, man. It definitely could have gone wrong so many ways. And the fact that really overall it was a success, I think it was really, it's just really refreshing, I guess, to have that happen.
I love it, man. I love that you can get back to performing and doing what you do, even if you might not have been in the ring. It was the focus on you. And not a lot of people in the business will know that as a producer and director or match agent, when you can talk to your performers, show them how things should go. And then when they do it, a way that the business gets done and they come back and they have that feeling of sense of accomplishment. We got them. And it's because of some of your direction and helping them out. And then even giving them notes backstage after of here's what we could have done to get a little bit more. And they get it even more.
Yes.
That feeling is something that very few will experience, but it's almost a greater sense of satisfaction when you can put your chess pieces on the board and they do what you want them to, and everybody wins, man. The crowd, the performers, and the management. And I'm glad you got to experience that feeling again, bud.
Yeah, it is interesting because I would have never thought doing things outside of performing would be just as satisfying. But you're right, getting to the chance to see people take your direction and make it their own. My thought coming into this is I wanted to give them direction that allowed them to still have the freedom to tell the story that they wanted to tell, but within the context that we needed for the business. And overall, everyone did that. And actually, this was the first show that I've ever seen anyone come out with a live chicken, and that was pretty awesome too.
That's awesome, man. And Rick did a good job. How was he? His ass was sitting on one ass cheek all day long of being producer of his first show.
Yeah, you could tell he obviously is putting a lot of time and effort into the show. And so, I know he had a lot of nervous energy about it, but he ended up doing just fine. But, when it's your first show, of course, you feel like, all the pressure's on you. And so I think, by the end of it, you could tell like a big weight was lifted off of his shoulders because everything went off without a hitch. Well, I'll take that back. There's, stuff happens, but at every show, not everything's going to go perfect. And so a lot of my things with him is like, hey man, it happened. Like for instance, at the very beginning of the show, he forgot to do the national anthem. I was like, all right, well, let's just do it. Let's just do it after the first match. Let's make it different. No one really cared. It's just we still got it in, and you just keep rolling with it. And so that's the thing with live performing is sometimes stuff doesn't go as you had it imagined in your mind's eye, and when that happens, you just got to figure out what to do, and you just keep going.
We had a funny national anthem spot too because we're outside. Hold on one second. We were outside and they had, a lovely young local gal sing it. And like right when it started, me and Blaze look at each other and he goes, "You want to get out of here?" So we just walked away during the national anthem. That popped me. But there's been, I don't know if I've told you about this spot. I don't think you'd ever do it. And even I was a bit trepidatious doing it the first, I guess we've done it maybe 3-4 times tops. But when Dynasty in upstate Indy, it isn't running anymore, and it became kind of Immortal Championship Wrestling, which we've done really great business there, and the crowds are a good time, kind of the 2CW holdover. But I remember I was facing Spirit Squad and a couple others, and it was at a VFW place too, like Lodge. And they start the national anthem, bro, and a minute in, they fucking cut it and hit my music. And I come out while everyone's standing up for the national anthem, bro. And that's one of the biggest heat spots, which could obviously have some promoters' heads exploding and whatnot. But to swerve the national anthem, man, for some wrestling shit is real rough. It's over the line, but where is the line if you keep pushing it at this point? So the prison planet we live under kind of deserves a shot in the ass for singing a song that's all about freedom and fighting for it. Meanwhile, we become more and more complacent every day to the masters. So that was we didn't interrupt this girl. We just got the fuck out of there. But we were talking about that. I was like, bro, that's one of the most hot button things I've done, is it probably interrupt the national anthem 3 times with call to Islamic prayer while they're all standing with their hands over their hearts.
Oh wow. Yeah, that would that's heat right there.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Especially in some of the spots we've been in. They're almost more shocked that we even did that than they are hot about it. They're like, I can't believe these guys are doing this fucking spot right now. So but at least you didn't have that on your show yet, infidels. But it was good to see you guys enjoying the post-show buzz. You know what it is, man. I even popped it was a record. It's like, I'm not gonna, this is 60%, 70% of indies that are way overbooked, man. Like, that's rough, getting to a show at 5 and then not going on until 5:30, 10:30 at night when the show should be done by 9:30, 10,
Yeah.
Setting up cages. And there's just some things that I've learned the hard way. Like, if you have a cage match like the Iraqi thing, like, sure, you want it to be a main event, but you have to look at the logistics of the show. I would put that on first, even though guys got to follow hardcore and all that kind of stuff. It's just keeping your audience there, because you built these angles that are so big and they're really the draw, but 2/3 of your audience is kind of bugged out and left by that time. Now, I will say this, like, I watched the show, pretty much the whole show, and there was a lot of great workers on the show, guys I've worked with all over, Johnny Moran, Mac, their champion, like really solid minds in this business who've been around for a minute and should be getting shots and are getting shots on AEW Dark. Rick Recon, the guy we faced, was just on there. So these guys get it. But there's nothing that can kill your crowd more than the length of your show. So by the time your main event comes around, 2/3 of your audience is there, and you lost like a lot of them who have little kids or just worn out by that long of a show. So, and I've experienced this on Immortal with GGP, where we cut the opening promo and the crowd's full and hot, and we come out there's half the audience members. So if there's one thing that I can pass on to independent promoters across the world, and Rick as well, is if you've got something like that, you got to put it on first. Those double intermissions and setting all that stuff up, you lose them. But I will say this, the crowd, and I don't want to try and just put myself over, the crowd was in and out on most matches and quiet. I'm like, man, I thought Jersey, they'd be fucking going nuts for everything, like loudmouth Jersey. A couple times they were, like the girls ladder match and things like that, which was, I was like, damn, girls taking bumps on ladders, something you usually don't see. But when we came out for the main, dude, I was doing all my cheerleading, interacting. We had them. They came back. They were super hot. USA chants. I tried to get a Palestine chant going. I got an Israel chant in return. So I knew, I knew we had him, man. And even afterwards, the owner, who's a great guy and really, pushing it hard for the boys to like make sure they have shows right now. So I give maximum respect to them. Was like, dude, I hate wrestling. I go, well, you're the perfect promoter then. And he goes, but you guys brought me back to that 1980s level where I was actually getting involved and getting hot at stuff. So if you can get a reaction out of, the guy who's got to hand out the envelopes and deal with all the bullshit, I feel like we more than did our job. And Blaze and Recon took plenty of violence, bro, like big welts on Blaze's back, the kendo stick shots. They even brought out the nunchucks, beast, the classic Arab nunchuck spot.
You see it all the time.
You see it all the time. Yeah, man. But after 14 months, even though we get to communicate with Hameen Media Group loyalists and faithful and be performing and running our mouth to fill that void, there's nothing like that 15-minute live buzz that was there. So I was eternally grateful to Titan and to Blaze and Recon for bringing me in and just to get to meet HMG, people who have supported us from the beginning. I think Frank's got almost every shirt that I got out there at ProWrestlingTees.com, and it was a special show for me, man, and thankful to. It's strange to cross these boundaries and see where our listeners are and when they see me live and their response. And it's humbling, man. It really is. But what was even more humbling was a fucking 5 hour and 15-minute car ride home at 11 at night, getting home at 4:30 in the fucking morning. And shout out to referee Sideburns, man, even though he's referee Big Beard right now. He's my wheelman, dude. And that guy can drive his fucking ass off. And that's exactly what he did. And 11 hours back and forth for a 15-minute shot is no small feat, to be honest with you. And so I was in a dream state all day yesterday, editing the new Larry Hankin stuff and going back and forth with clients. And then we had a Conspiracy Horseman meeting, which was kind of rough. I'm not gonna lie. And then to catch the end of the pay-per-view, I had to go back and watch the Zombie Apocalypse. We're gonna break all that down, man. But I was really, really just happy to see you guys getting back into the flow of it. Rick's getting his virginity taken, and all that fucking goodness that goes along with live performance and being back on the road, bro.
Yeah, it was very, again, refreshing just to be able to be back again. And if anything, I mean, I've always had the passion and the excitement for getting back out there, but getting a chance to do it again just continues to reignite that flame, so to speak. And I'm hopeful for more shows to come in the near future and just continuing to tear some houses down.
Oh, absolutely, man. And maybe someday I'll be over enough to get booked on Dream Wrestling. We'll see.
Yeah, well, I know a couple guys. I'll talk to
somebody over there. But I appreciate you putting a good word for me, man. But what's the good word? Is we're 34 strong here. YouTube, Ben Hameen channel. I'm not sure if anybody's on Twitch. I see the LOL 2021 bot over there trying to get people that sub. I think you're on Twitch .tv/Hameen Media. If you want to join the live chat, it seems like all the cool kids are still YouTubing it up, but I just double stream into both at this time as we come back. Twitch.tv/Hameen Media for the SmackDown Live self-help group watch-alongs or whatever I'm doing UFC wise. I didn't get a chance to do any of that this weekend because it was just on the road and then right back to production. But on that 3 hours, 4 hours sleep, bro, yesterday, I just was in a complete dream state. How'd you hold up? Did you get some rest yesterday, or are you right back at it?
No, I don't really have an excuse other than after the show, obviously, Rick and the promoter and a couple other guys wanted to celebrate the success of it. And so I felt obliged, especially since they were paid for my hotel anyway, to go and join them. And we literally hung out and told stories and drank till the sun came up. And then I woke up.
I got a text at 5:40 in the morning that said, put heat on fucking Vickery from your messenger. So I was like, yeah, I had just gone to bed at 5 myself. Like, these fuckers are still up, bro.
So yeah, I don't really have an excuse other than we stayed up all night. And so yeah, I was in a dream. In fact, when we got up the next day, had lunch, Rick wanted to go and hang a little bit at his local watering hole. So I was like, I'll go join them. By the time I got there, I was like, man, I can't drink anymore. I'm not going to be able to drive home. You know what I mean? I was so tired and just exhausted. So luckily I made it. But yeah, I understand that dream state, kind of like feeling like in a fog. And I finally feel now that I've gotten a full night's sleep shaken out of it. But yeah, it's hard when you're running off a little bit of sleep trying to get stuff done.
Nah, Frank hooked us up with a good smoke, and it was fucking perfect for getting back to what we needed to do, man. There was tons of animals out on the way home. I saw fucking deer, porcupines, raccoons, fox. I was like, Jesus Christ, what is going on out here, bro?
I just saw a bunch of Amish people in their buggies.
Dude, we saw a fuck ton too, because we went down through Pennsylvania and cut across, which I've made that Poconos run a couple times. Where we were coming down 26, bro, I mean, you've been to my small town. There wasn't even a small town like that. It was just sticks upon sticks for 60 miles, where it was like Amish farm, old farm, and then like farmhouse from 18 whatever that should just be torn down. It was some seriously rough living out there, man. I can only imagine in the wintertime what it's like, and just to not have any convenience. Dude, it was legit 60 miles between like a Dollar General. Like that's where people must be going to get their fucking stuff, because there was nothing around these mud farms, dude. And that's a hard life out there, dude. I'm here to tell you. So it was a beautiful day to drive down. And like I said, the wheelman sideburns, he's got it covered. That guy fucking loves driving, man. Yeah. Won't stop driving, lives for it, dude. And then he went and played golf yesterday too. I was like, Jesus Christ, dude.
So he went from driving to driving.
Oh, boom. There he is already getting him in with the Monday morning monologue. It's Ted the Trailer McNailer.
All right. Hope everyone's having a good Monday so far, as it is tax day. So make sure you get your taxes done. I'm ashamed to admit that I will be finishing mine today myself, but we're guaranteed two things in life: death and taxes. And the biggest difference between them? Death doesn't get worse every time Congress meets. So, at least there's that. But let's get into some headlines. The Wrestling Inc. Daily recently interviewed WWE Hall of Famer Mr. T, who discussed his rivalry with Roddy Piper, teaming with Hulk Hogan and WrestleMania. But he spent the first hour just talking about his mom. It was really kind of boring, actually. We couldn't help it. He had to thank his mom.
Yeah,
speaking of WWE, them and A&E are teaming up to launch a new sweepstakes, offering fans a chance to virtually meet Shawn Michaels. And if you don't win, then sorry about your heartbreak, kid. I went there. Mark Crozer was recently interviewed on Rain Stops Play, and one of the topics he discussed was performing Bray Wyatt's entrance at WrestleMania 30, and he noted that he was very surprised, given the size of the event and the arena, at how last minute and thrown together a lot of the show was. Then, now, forever. In a recent interview with ComingSoon.net, Batista, the zombie man himself, he set to star the Netflix film Army of the Dead, and he discussed which current and former WWE stars he would bring with him for a zombie heist. I once saw a dyslexic zombie once. Did you know that? All he wanted to eat was Brian's. And our final headline here: Vice News has released a new short video looking at Rob Van Dam's activism to legalize marijuana, and he has never been more blunt. If the whole world smoked a joint at the same time, there would be world peace for at least 2 hours, followed by a global food shortage. We don't think about that aspect of it, but let's think about the food though. I say let's consider the animals. Instead of grain-fed cattle, we could have cannabis-fed cattle. We're talking high stakes here, man. We really are. And I have to say, as a physical therapist, most of the joints I see get rolled, their ankles.
Oh,
hey, can I do one more weed joke?
Please.
With today being tax day, I just hope Rob Van Dam has filed his joint tax returns. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your Monday morning monologue.
Yeah, he might actually have to pay for some extra property there on the backside acreage of his new bride, Katie Forbes. Man, that's some serious hills back there, dude. But I'm happy to see RVD getting out of the stoner 420 thing to be taken as a serious not litigator, I would say a serious advocate is the word I'm looking for the marijuana culture, man. And he's right at the forefront of all that. But speaking of tax day, man, the Titan Championship Wrestling, the autograph signing draw was IRS. So I went up and said, hey, man, enjoy that $3,000 I put in your account last night. Really do whatever you want with it. Have some fun with it. So that was and it was funny because he wasn't dressed, not that he's got to show up in suspenders and the white shirt and all that, but he looked like he was on a tactical mission, like he was going to go do a jewelry heist or something. He had black pants, like black BDU shirt, and a black hat on. I was like, this guy's heel as fuck, but maybe he's come out and dust. And the Samoans were there. So Alpha Jr., the werewolf Samoan Jacob Fatu from MLW, and forgive me, I forget the high flyer's name. It starts with an M. I don't want to botch the island name and catch heat with them, but all those guys were having a good time. Samoans are always a fun crew to have in the in the locker room, man. I was standing next to Alpha Jr. and there was a match on the undercard way early on. It was supposed to be for the Lucha title, and out comes Marvelous Marcello, who I believe is Italian, and then another dude, something Jaguar, and I got pumped because I was like, Dre Blitz is here, but another athletic African American dude, and Alpha looks at me, and goes, "This is an awesome lucha match with no masks." and he goes, "I got lucha style." He's like, "Who's going to be his opponent?" So I just started to push him forward. Like the first 2 seconds I met Alpha Jr., I was ribbing him as far as that goes. But we had a good time, man, hanging with the boys, just watching the crowd, getting a feel for everything. So for an outdoor show, it was that's always such a gamble, man. But it was blue skies smiling at me until the sun went down in the city, and they had cool lights and all that set up so everyone could see what was going on. But IRS took my money, man. I don't envy you having to file today. That was a stress we got through on Friday, since still married. So that's a plus, I guess.
Yeah, it's always a pain. Luckily, I have all my forms filled out and put in. I just have to go through all of my deductions and see if I went over the cap. So we'll find out.
Yeah, I know I did, because obviously being a independent business owner, I got to take and adjust for everything else. So they stuck me for about $2,800 at the end of the day, $2,860. So prowrestlingtees.com / Hameen, or patreon.com / Media Group, wherever you're getting this, and soon to be Realm subscription. As we get everything going there this week, I'm starting to do the training on that. I'm not sure. I was going to say as well, I'm not sure if today's the day you're going to start taping with ODB or where.
Yes. We're going to test all the live equipment and everything, but so starting next week, I'll have the handle and everything. I don't have it right now, but we have a couple names we're going back and forth on, but we're going to at least get the equipment worked out. So hopefully later this week, I'll post up the pilot video for our first interview. So yeah, I'm doing that with her today, getting things started. And I'm excited just to be working with her. So it should be a lot of fun.
Boom! Had to get one of those. Shout out to Dirty Gimmicks, man. So that'll be coming soon on Realm. Russo brand, a new show with ODB, and then we're going to start knocking it out for her Patreon and what she wants to do. That's where HMG is going to plug in, but the Man Beast coming to Russo brand. I'm excited about that. I know Vince is as well, man, and a lot of just great things going on over there with Mitch helping out with the videos in the background while we're producing other stuff. I just released Master Shoot Theater episode 2 for free over there and on my YouTube channel. I think it might have been out, so I may even release episode 3 for free here soon, because I've got episode 4 in the can, which I haven't even had a chance to look at. So big shout out to @mandeer666 or Frostbite BC, wherever you're following them, to take those Master Shoot Theaters and just doing awesome animation, which is not a easy or quick process, man. Very time consuming, but love to see him doing his art off of our art, and you guys just enjoying it. So please give him a follow and let him know how great of a job he's doing. Absolutely. But as Russo brand expands, everything is, man, like I said, working with Larry Hankin, getting some great notes, and he just got booked for the Friends reunion, which is going to be a big show. Probably, I don't know, it might air today. I think it might have been the 17th. So on HBO Max, I think that's going to be on. So just overjoyed to be working with such high level talents. I think I saw in the background Vince introduced interviewed Carl Gottlieb, which was Larry's great friend at Syracuse University, talking about that in his Larry Hankin Stories book. Carl Gottlieb, the author of Jaws and plenty of other, major Hollywood blockbusters as well. So we're crossing over into new realms on the Realm Network as we start to learn the back end and take that over in the next month or so. So appreciate you guys hanging with us through any learning curves that we've got going on, man. But yeah, a great weekend to be back on the road overall. And that's the wrap up, dude, of that.
I was just thinking, someone brought up IRS, the worker, obviously, in the chat room. It got me thinking. I hope they do it, but because I think it's just a unique opportunity that Monday Night Raw falls on a tax day that IRS shows up at the Firefly Funhouse and tells him he owes his taxes.
And takes it all back. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like that would be easy, right? And a fun pop and getting it over. But
and not to mention the first time, I assume they've been on camera together. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong.
I mean, could you have left more money on the table with not tying in Bo Dallas and IRS to give him the rub, or the fact that not reintroducing IRS and Bo inside of the Firefly Funhouse world? I mean, we did have some inside stooge, and I don't know if it's a COVID related thing, but and I don't even know the real level of it, and I hope it's more minor than it is major, but I heard Bray is having some health problems or had been having some health problems. So I'm hoping that it was, like I said, I don't know the inside details, but I don't know if that's what really affected Firefly Funhouse getting over, or just more of the incompetence of WWE management not seeing the money that they had there and watering it down and putting it on Alexa and getting in inside ribs when it really started as kind of a high level conspiracy, Illuminati, reptilian, really into that David Icke, Alex Jones conspiracy horseman realm. And then, like everything WWE does, they just really water it all down from the original inception of a great creative idea.
Realm.
Yeah, man. Y'all, people bitching about taxes in the chat room. We're all in the same boat on that one, man. We are all in the same boat. I don't know if RBV even got the message, man, or what's up with him here, but let me check.
No, he was saying he was all hyped about getting on here and talking about the show. maybe he continued to party hard after I left him yesterday.
That's not out of the realm of possibilities.
Oh, you brought it back around.
Oh shit, Beast. I got a couple of headlines to get to. Anything else we needed to discuss? I was off the booze for about a week. I did have a margarita, I won't say fully, at Mexican dinner the other night, and it was damn delicious. But I got that bottle of Four Roses small batch, so I might be back on the liquor this week, Jim Leahy style. Having a little celebration. I just was trying to work hard, get my cardio up, and not put any extra things in my body that were going to like slow that process down.
I am the liquor. I love the Leahy stuff. Rest in peace.
Actually, a cool little stuff there. John Dunsworth, who played Mr. Leahy, who's passed on. I've gotten to meet him 3 times, and he was. While the other guys were kind of like, I don't give a fuck, he was way into the wrestling side of things in the performance and asking me about it. And I saw him and Randy at the Cheeseburger Picnic when they did that tour, and Sideburns and I went to the big shows at the Egg in Albany and did a meet and greet afterwards with him and got just a pick that's legendary. But his daughter, Sarah Dunsworth, Sarah on the show, she runs his whole website and estate. Her and her husband do, and do a great job with it. But she put out the other day, I was flipping through Twitter and I caught it in like the first minute of, she was listening to Bare Naked Ladies, and she's like, if you can tell me where they got their name, I'll give you a $20 gift certificate to johndunsworth.com. And I'd done enough research. I mean, I went to school right there on the border of Canada and US. So you guys know my musical influence from Tragically Hip, BNL, Lowest of the Low, the Constantines, Moxie Frubus, all that shit. You hear me play it. But I had known the story was that they hooked up together during a summer band camp thing, and they had gone to a Bob Dylan show, and we're just coming up with band names, and like that's one that stuck. And I put that over. She goes, I had to look it up because I thought they hooked up right before Much Music competition and we're just looking for a name, but you seem to be right. So in the first 20 minutes, 1 minute, I won a $20 gift card, and I bought the Jim Leahy limited edition Dick Shitnary, which has got all the Jim Leahy shitisms in there, man. So, a very cool little piece of limited run art, but I know they got new t-shirts up there. If you're a Trailer Park Boys fan, I definitely suggest checking out John Dunsworth and give Sarah Dunsworth a follow. She's always posting great memories of her father. You can buy like 1-page scripts of like from Trailer Park Boys that are from his private collection, his writings and things along those lines. And that's one thing it just gave me such joy. Trailer Park Boys is one of my favorite things on the planet. And again, APOC, Rick Victor is the one who put me on to that, man. So I'm always thankful for him for bringing that joy to my life. And we've done shows with Corey Bowles, and I invited them. I was like, hey, if we ever get to come up north again, please, I'd love to have you and Corey as my guests, because they're big wrestling fans as well.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Sometimes when you're driving the shit boat, you just got to drop the shit anchor and get shit faced. It's just what you got to do.
Or you're going to fall into the shit abyss. And that's the last place you want to be, man.
Yeah, just got to avoid the I can't say it. Shitacanes.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't even that funny, but
the winds of shit are changing, beast, and we're going to flow with them. I get the big last night is WWE Backlash. And, I lost a couple bucks on it because I was looking at the betting lines in Bovada, and I said, what are the odds that Miz is like that? In the Miz storyline, they had Morrison kind of not fuck him over, but be the cost of him winning, and then they're going into this match, and I go, the chances of Miz being the swerve, and he was like plus 320. So I put like $3 on that. And then Charlotte, I figured that I don't think they had faith in Rhea Ripley. Like, she's going through the NXT motions and her promos aren't there. Some of the match stuff isn't there. And if I was in the office, I would say I'd rather have it on Charlotte with the way she looks right now. Coming back looks incredible. And it's better to have the heel, even though Rhea Ripley is supposedly a heel, having that title and being able to work with a younger talent to groom them and get them to where it is, instead of having a big heel like Charlotte chase it. So I thought those might be the two. And those were she was like plus 180. So again, I put a couple bucks on her and lost both of those, which comes to, even though the Miz match wasn't predictable, a very predictable pay-per-view finish on almost everything. Mysterios were going to be up. Chances are Rhea was going to be up. I thought they'd swerve it. Miz, I thought maybe because of playing out the game of, he's going to lose again after we've seen that. And then Bobby Lashley up after, we'll talk about Braun's indiscretions this week. I didn't think Reigns was going under. I knew it'd be the match to get Cesaro elevated and show that he can work with anybody, but which is obvious, and the tag match as well with Mysterio's up. Pretty much all predictable finishes on this, man, right down the card, dude.
And I guess on one hand, that you don't want to have everything be predictable, because certainly that's not exciting. But the other part of me, I guess I'm not surprised either, because if I remember correct, it seems like Backlash every year is really just kind of a rehash of WrestleMania stuff, and there's really not too many big events that happen with title changes, which, to be fair, should be a reason to do at least one piece of business that's a surprise, right? So that way people have a reason to tune in, because it feels like every year it's a rehash, and I can see they're just trying to keep the steam. It's interesting that they renamed it too as WrestleMania Backlash. I don't know if they were trying to do that to imply that this is another part of the WrestleMania event, but certainly if it was supposed to be, then it certainly did not have the WrestleMania big main event feel to it.
No, it definitely didn't. And they're trying to do it as a fallout thing. So that's what I was thinking. Like, if there is going to be one match where the odds are in favor in Vegas, it's probably Miz, or else it's Charlotte. But instead, they went the other way. I knew Lashley was probably going to retain just because they've cooled Drew off again. I just don't understand how you can't get max value out of this guy who's such an unbelievable property, bro. And then Braun, did you see the picture he posted Friday?
Oh, and the Daisy Dukes?
Yeah, dude. So he's posing in Daisy Dukes, standing up against a tree with his ass out, bro. I'll try and bring it up here. I just got to find a right chat that I know where it is. Where's Strangler Steve King's chat? I know it's in there. Send him all the homoerotic things.
Loves it. Lives for it.
Can't get enough. Like, bro, you go to the office. You go to the office. No, you go to the office to sit down with Vince, tell him you're depressed. This is 6 months ago, or whatever. You put these things out that say you have body dysmorphia, things that you deal with in your head, and you want to be. You get a new shirt as the monster amongst men crusher or whatever like this, dude. And there's plenty of other suspect videos out there where you're cross-dressing on Halloween. Okay. But multiple times every year is Wonder Woman or the Pussycat Dolls. There's another video where he goes into some boardroom in Daisy Dukes and gets up and starts doing some Magic Mike dance, like half stripper thing. And it's awkward as fuck. And then you're going to put this out 2 days before your title match. They really think that this is what you think the office is going to see that and go, you know what, let's swerve the finish and put Braun over. He looks awesome. He's our giant. And we can really trust in him. What do you honestly believe that putting something like that out on social media where you look like a complete Tinder, Bumble, gay bear, like coming out of the closet, look at my ass, and I'm looking for a good man in Tampa, which is fine if he wants to, but like I've never seen the sirens go off on the gaydar for look at me, I want to come out of the closet, but I'm not. Then things like that, bro.
Right. Well, and if that's something that's weighing on him, I hope he can find
So
obviously everyone's journey is different, and I hope he can find the courage to be able to come out and be okay with it, because it is hard. I mean, I'm not going to say he is or he isn't, but certainly some of those tweets would lead one to believe maybe he is into that, life. But I hope he can find, some mental wellness through all of this. But the part of me from a booking standpoint feels like, if that's the stuff that he's going to put out there, then I feel like as if I was the booker, then okay, we got to make him, over the top, like comedy character. I would lead into it, but not make him a main eventer though, unfortunately, which is a shame because he has all the tools to be able to get there, but then he ends up undoing his own business by what he puts out on social media.
100%. Like I say, no judgment of anything, of any lifestyle he wants to live. But when you're in this business and you have that many eyes on you through social media, it's an essential tool going into a point where you were doing hopscotch and slime and you're stupid, and your fifth grade report card was Shane McMahon at WrestleMania in the lead up, and possibly the worst fucking match or business we've ever seen, and to make him look dumb, all that was a rib. He gets through it, and they put him in the main event to be a fucking legit murderer, killer, and this guy's standing with his ass to the camera saying, look at these fucking cheeks, bro. It's just like, I don't know how more completely, I don't care if it's on the Adam Shearer or whatever fucking personal one or not, that's going to hit the fucking sheets like a bomb, and that's going to go right to the office. And if the office was thinking, this guy's got money written all over him, bro, look at it, he's the monster among men, it's believable that he could beat Lashley, let's fucking do a finish and put the belt on him finally and make it look completely believable. 48 hours before that, he's doing this kind of stuff, bro. And in the office, if you and I were there, like I said, regardless of judgment of lifestyle or anything, you're just like, this guy don't give a fuck of what we're trying to do with him.
No, I would say start next week, you're going to be the cosplay conqueror. And every week, whatever's cool in pop culture and relevant, then you're going to dress up that way and be at least relevant and funny. But again, that doesn't lead itself to being a serious main event contender.
Or bring back Lars and let them be boyfriends and do a Billy and Chuck angle. You know what I mean? And let them be managed by Gabby. Like if you're all about like riding this, like, hey, guess what I am, but I'm not. Well, then we're going to play that game out. Cause obviously you feel comfortable doing that and think that's the right fucking way to go, man. It's just like, wow. And everything of, I just think about Andre the Giant and, these gods among men, and this guy's got all of the fucking attributes to be that. Could you imagine fucking Andre like gay baiting like that on a like what the world would have thought of him in his prime, bro? And that's what this guy has to offer the world. And he's not keeping the mystique of his character because of his size, or even look at what great shape I'm getting into. And to say he has body dysmorphia, but then you're like, oh, is it all diet? No, there's my hypodermic needle I left laying in my selfie picture. And to be honest with you, any psychologist worth his weight in salt would say that that's all done purposely, subconsciously, to send a message of, I'm not as strong as you think I am. You know what I mean? I'm a frail little girl underneath all of this.
Yeah. And let's not forget too, sometimes wrestlers can be cruel. We don't know what, I mean, not that, you should be able to handle oneself, but there's relentless ribbing that happens all the time. And it seems like a lot of times the guys that look the best end up having the worst issues with how they look in the mirror. I remember Mike Mondo talking about, I'm so fat. And then you look at him, he's got a 12 pack and it's like, dude, but it's that way that I know they gave Ryback a bunch of shit back in the day about how he wasn't, he's starting to look smaller or whatever, that he would go and, try to rep out more at the gym and just try to continue to get bigger. But it's interesting because, I mean, that's something. I'm not saying again, it's a justification for what he's putting out there, but it is something that I can't help but think about of, on the other side of the curtain, it is, while they're putting out this vibe of, they're anti-bullying and friendly. Let's not forget though, the wrestling business and wrestlers can be very cruel, and we don't know, what he might be dealing with on the other side of it. Again, not justifying what he's doing, but I just hope if he does have, any of these things going on, that he is able to work through it and find more acceptance for himself and find, who he really is as a person. And again, after like as a writer, I would say, okay, well, we're going to do a 180 on what we're going to do with you. And let's, if you're just looking to go out and have a good time, then let's do it. Let's find a way to get you out there.
Because he's getting the chance to be in the main. And 2 days before, like the office just had to, I couldn't imagine having to go and be like, Bruce, you got to see this. Like, forget it. Forget what we were thinking about. Like, he's doing this shit again. He can't be trusted, like he can't be trusted to carry the creative and whatnot. It's just, that's maddening to those who know that they would protect their business and never get a shot. You know what I mean? To see that kind of stuff. And again, it's no judgment on anybody's lifestyle choices, but when you're in this business and you're trying to create a reality that you're a monster killer and that everyone should get out of your fucking way, except for when you got your Daisy Dukes on bent over a tree. I just like, okay, man. Okay. Still doesn't get it. Too much, too fast, to be honest with you, is what it is. Too much, too fast.
Yeah. You could say that about a lot of guys too, but you're right.
100%. You could say that. I mean, Jade Cargill's another one, bro. Of in AEW, millions of dollars written on her. Look at her, beyond blue chip property, and putting out tweets that say people are hot at me because I've already had 4 TV matches and I've never been trained and I'm on TV. And I'm thinking to myself, you just cut your own throat. Like, you make one mistake, people are going to use this tweet against you in every which way but loose, dude. And they just don't understand how to stay small and be thankful for what they have and get that part over. So, and it's all too much, too fast. It's kids. Kids.
It always goes back to that one piece of advice, the best piece of advice I've probably ever gotten. Never miss a great opportunity to shut the fuck up.
He could have taken that advice himself this year.
Yeah.
But the big heat, the big fucking news is the zombie apocalypse, man, Beast. I thought that to go back and watch it, I didn't know it was a Batista thing. I thought it was a complete Alexa Bliss thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't get to watch it live. So in my mind, when I heard zombies, I was like, oh, this must be, what I imagined is it was all the regular dudes at ringside. Then Alexa Bliss shows up, lights down, lights up, and we're in some, bizarro world. But that wasn't it at all. Former WWE champion Batista took to Twitter last night, responded to criticism over the zombie lumberjack match that saw Damian Priest defeat The Miz. As noted, zombies were a tie-in to Zack Snyder's new Army of the Dead movie on Netflix, which stars Batista. The Animal also narrated the opening video package for the pay-per-view, which was sponsored by the movie. Batista posted a pre-show teaser tweet that said some of his friends would be attending the pay-per-view. His friends ended up being the Zombies. You can find the original report of Zombies with photos and videos at this link. A fan tweeted Batista after the show and said the Zombies were insulting the fans. Batista responded and said the fans should be complaining to WWE chairman and CEO Vince McMahon. Why the fuck are you telling me? You think I booked a bunch of fucking zombies? I'm on a damn plane. Shouldn't you be tweeting Vince? Man shrugging emoji, Batista wrote back. As noted, AEW star Chris Jericho also had an interesting reaction to zombies, saying, let's see here. Where is it? Sorry.
While you're trying to find it, that is, I still, every time I think about zombies, I can't help but go back to the movie Step Brothers when he tried to bury, what's his name, alive, and then he came out of the grave and he's like, zombie! I love that moment.
That is a great moment. And an underrated one.
Yeah.
Jericho's tweet was zombies. Wow, that just set wrestling back 30 years. Oh, I love it. I love it.
I like how he turns it around. Nice.
And that's my point. That's the Jade Cargill 101 right there, isn't it? You say this shit, and it took what? WWE said it last week, midweek, and fucking it took about 5 days for that to come back and sting them hard as fuck. And
hold my beer.
Yeah, hold my fucking beer, bro. Just completely tone deaf asinine when they put that stuff out on both sides, on all sides of that.
It doesn't necessarily forgive what it's just different to same aspect, but different ways of going about it. That being said, so you have to think, so say you are a writer and you're responsible for somehow tying in the zombie apocalypse so they can sell this movie with Batista into the storyline. How do you present it?
Well, I would have actually, the Batista opening is fine. I would have had, Backlash sponsored by the Walking Dead gimmick, right? And then I would have used Alexa Bliss going into that with, like I said, a lights up, lights down scenario. And I wouldn't have used zombies in this one. This is all bad. Forget even what I'm going to lay out for you is not good.
Right. But this is, it's a business decision. Let's say they're getting, quite a few millions of dollars to promote this movie, and you as a writer have to do it. And you're just like, okay, fuck. All right, let's figure out what is going to kill the business the least.
Right. Or tie in with something that we have that's mythic. You know what I mean? So either an Aleister Black tie-in or a Alexa Bliss or the Fiend. Those are our three choices, right? Or
perhaps you could bring back the original The Zombie from ECW on Sci-Fi.
That's right. Quoting Cujo, he says, Graves on commentary last night, no, ECW isn't back, which popped me.
Great minds.
Yeah. Well, that's paying respect to the viewer who's tuned in through the good, bad, and the worst. You know what I mean? And ECW Zombie was bad, and that was a bad end in that scenario too. There with the guy who played him. So,
or perhaps you could have had some hokey stuff with maybe just that single zombie, do the callback, call in, and then finally Miz comes out. He's had enough. He calls out the zombie. They kill him, and then Damian Priest comes out and does the thing, and that would at least maybe save more face than having everyone believe all of a sudden zombies are attacking. Or
do a pre-tape where the match starts and you have it pre-taped and all the lumberjacks. So this is what I was going to say with Alexa Bliss. The fucking magic swing set shows up with a stupid doll or whatever, and lights up, lights down. And if you had WWE stars as the lumberjacks, they're all zombies as well. Like you have them all made up and it's all cinematically done that we shot a week ago and to see how we liked it. But instead we just had extras kind of from the movie and actors doing this type of stuff. So there really isn't, and even that doesn't excite me. What is interesting to me is Batista with a bad taste in his mouth for WWE, as we saw a couple of weeks ago. I'm never coming back. I'm done with wrestling, And then here he is in a crossover with his movie where they've done some type of deal, right? So somebody's making money off of it. He even reads the opening of the show And then when fucking it's a complete shit segment, which there's no way that zombies even look good on paper. Like in a booking meeting, we would have been like, dude, we're going to get fucking killed for this. If we do this, it's going to be real bad. I don't give a shit. Get it out there. But then Batista sells for some Mark fans. What the fuck you telling me? You think I booked a bunch of fucking zombies? I'm on a damn plane. Shouldn't you be tweeting Vince? Well, dude, this is your Hollywood tie-in with Zack Snyder. So it just shows like, hey, I shot that movie. I don't give a fuck. I've got Guardians of the Galaxy 3 coming up and wrestling sucks and da-da-da. Instead of having a canned response to like knowing as a worker that you're going to take heat for this because you're tied into it. It's your movie. He just goes, what the fuck? Who cares? Asked Vince. Like, dude, just egomaniacal, not getting it. I'm not sure,
or at least spin it into, hey, well, at least check. Well, why don't you at least check out the movie? I guarantee it'll be a lot better, or something like that. You know what I mean? Sell what you're trying to sell.
Beautiful. I like that. Yeah, but like he even shits out, so because he shits on the segment, it looks like he doesn't give a flying fuck about what's going to happen, man. And then,
or could have said, hey, but at least the movie's good. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Then there's another little HMG strange tie-in last night, which it doesn't hurt my feelings. It hurt my feelings, but it had me scratching my head because we've mentioned this guy 2 or 3 times, whether it's during his Impact run or WWE lookbacks, and he's liked our stuff. I've been in the locker room with him, as I'm sure you have, and I got a lot of respect for him, dude. And I didn't mind the heat because he retweeted HMG, but I don't even think he's a follower of that Hameen Media Group. But we put out hashtags on Hameen Media Group. I'm not even sure who put this out off staff last night, but they did a good job. Hashtag zombies invading WWE. What WTF? Hashtag WM Backlash. If you want to learn about real wrestling, catch the Rip Rogers FR podcast only on patreon.com/Hameen Media Group at Hustler2754. And Hurricane Helms retweeted it, bro, and said, I'd rather get eaten alive by a gorilla zombie, which I don't understand that reference and whatnot. And it's not going to catch, but whatever. And kind of burying the FR podcast for no reason, which means, and if he's not a follower, then that means they're vanity searching hashtag WWE zombies, and 90% chance that fell under his umbrella to agent that, and he's having a visceral reaction. So not a visceral reaction, but a visceral. I don't know, but thanks for the RT for the eyes on it. There's no such thing as bad press, but this is a guy I didn't think we had any heat with, but he must feel some kind of way to come out of nowhere to get that in. And I don't even understand what wanting to get fucked by gorilla zombies is about. If that's an inside joke between him and Rip, I don't know, man. But some strange sell from a great WWE superstar over a tweet that I didn't think was that salacious at all.
Weird. I mean, that's the only thing I could think is, he just maybe took offense to just the dig at WWE, and him as a representative, felt obliged to step up. But again, all it does really is promote it. But, right, exactly. It's like, to me, it's not worth it. And if anything, the podcast gets more eyes on it either way. So I don't think it's going to hurt the podcast at all. If anything, it just helps.
I almost came back in the thread just to be like, as on my Hameen account, to be like, hey, thanks for the RT. I mean, regardless, that's Shane Helms putting over HMG to some degree when he sells for something that wasn't even that crazy. But then it's kind of a dig at Rip, and I'm going, do him and Rip have heat? So that'll be.
So. I'll ask him.
I'm looking forward to getting Rip's response off of that, and I know Rip hit me up too. He's anxious to maybe do match review with Serena's comeback.
Oh yeah,
this
absolutely
week. Should be.
Rip's getting all kinds of heat. Hurricane Helms, I know Joey Janela said he could blow him, and so Rip's getting all kinds of heat from everybody.
Yeah, Joey Janela blocking that Hameen Media Group. We didn't block Ben Hameen, but it's whatever, man. But I put that tweet out of hey man, don't say you're gonna fuck somebody up on site and then let's do this on Triller or Box or whatever. And then Dylan Bostic's like, okay, sure, bro. And I heard your car broke down on the way to fucking AEW, so it sounds like you need the money too. And Dylan Bostic's just telling the story of how he got shorted $240 on $400 payday. So it's not like he's going out saying fuck this, that, or the other and telling lies. That's the truth. And Janela wanted to be the one to step up, but Janela wanted to fight Enzo or some shit too, didn't he? And then they pussed out like at a county fair. I'm just like,
I don't know, but they had a real opportunity to make some money with Triller. Not to mention that could have helped up Joey Janela's stock and eyes on him. And so, to me, from a working standpoint, even if you really don't like the guy, if the opportunity to make money comes up, I don't know. That's just the worker in me. I'm going to figure out a way to make it work and make money.
you know what we call that around here in posse country? You're being a pussy ass bitch. At the end of the day, you fucking talk all this shit like you want to fucking throw down, like you got hands of steel and all the skills. And
PAB,
PAB, bro. That's what we call them. Stop being one, or don't open your fucking mouth and Twitter thumbs it saying you want that heat. And then when we're like, all right, let's fucking do this and make some money. Block. Don't you dare tag me. I'll block you, dude. There's just so many fucking children out here. And I've said good things about Janela too. I think he's like a young Jericho in WCW, who was one of my favorites at that time. He has that potential. He's obviously run his niche shows off of WrestleMania in Florida before he got signed to make his name. That's no easy task. You and I know, like from this weekend alone, that's no easy task to get all that shit done. And I've done nothing but put him over. But when it's just one little fucking turn the screws to him about let's do some business, holy shit, they react like a 2-year-old who can't have a fucking ice cream bar or some shit, bro.
Yeah, it's strange because it's like you ask for one type of reaction, and then when you get it, you say, "Oh, never mind."
Yeah, you just thought you were going to strong arm another worker or a fighter out of something, be like, "Oh, Janela's going to fight me. I'm scared." Like he's fucking like if Braun said, "I'm going to fuck you up on site," then you better watch. Like then something bad could happen, but. Dude, ain't nobody fucking scared of 5'7" Joey Janela. Like he's got fucking all these hands, and I know ain't nobody in that whole locker room fucking me up on site. So, like, what do you got to say, after that? And it's just sad that they act like they want to do business, but then when it comes time to possibly getting a payday where you could go and buy a brand new fucking car for cash, they don't want to work it. That means to me that politics is completely fucked over there, bro.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely a different business than from when I came into it, and
yeah. And they're the ones who are getting the shots, and they keep fucking it up, man. Every which way but loose. One other thing that was weird, AEW heat wise, did you see that one story where and I've kind of known a bit about this since fall, that AEW office isn't even on speaking terms, the owners, and they don't name who's whatever, but I pop for this because this is Young Bucks being fucking smart, bro. The Young Bucks just get it. They absolutely get it and how to do these things. Young Bucks aren't posting tweets anymore. Their only tweet is updated our status, and then they put like a new little rib fuck the business status or rib the fans in their thing. So you're having to go to their thing to see it. And that's interesting to me. Maybe that ups their numbers, and then they're just juking the Twitter algorithm, which is super smart, and big respect to that if it's working and that's what they're doing. But I went over there and it just said in their status, not on speaking terms. So the heat is, and from what I've heard, is Omega and the Bucks with kind of on the opposite side of Cody. And I just think that the Bucks and them had great intentions, but Cody is about, and we saw it, kind of sticking it up WWE's ass, but he's a WWE guy through and through based on who his brother is, his father is, and knowing how it comes up. And when I say that, that means playing politics to be the top guy, not just doing WWE style. Like you saw how kind of much baggage he carries when he has to smash Triple H's throne is symbolically on his debut, but then almost everything he does is a knockoff of Triple H and Stephanie and the moves that they make, and the heat that they carry to get themselves over, as opposed to being a vice president of a company and getting everybody over. And I've been sitting on this since October. This shit's been going on since October, and if it's just coming to light now in May, fucking what is that, 7 months later? Think about how toxic that situation is if they still haven't repaired that.
Yeah. Although as a writer, I can't help but think, can we lead into this? Can Cody all of a sudden stop talking to everybody? He's not on speaking terms with anybody anymore.
That's interesting.
Until finally, obviously, you build up, because then the big heat is finally something must happen that he has to speak up about it, and that could be an intriguing story. I'm all about what's real and how can we lean into it, but it is interesting, and I hope certainly they can work things out. But I will say from also a booking standpoint is you can't book and wrestle at the same time. It never ever works. Like with the show this past weekend, they asked me to work as well. I said I will wrestle or I will help book and produce.
Right.
I will not do both. And because no matter what, your opinion is going to be biased, because obviously as a worker you want to do the best thing to promote yourself, but as a booker you want to do the best thing to promote the show, and those things can be different. Sometimes you are put over in the context of a show. Sometimes, though, the context of the show is bigger than necessarily your performance. You know what I mean? And
then you have other serious politicers, like Jericho's going to get his stuff to where he wants it with MJF. You know what I mean? So the in the middle of all of that, and we worked with Cody. I've never seen him fucking have to go into business hard or bury anybody like that. He's usually, a understanding dude. But here's the thing.
I can't recall him having heat with anyone in the locker room, except for when Roadkill, I know, did a really over the top impression of his dad. And that, I think, it hit him kind of hard. But and that was just a real quick thing. But I don't really remember him having really any major issue with anybody during his time at OVW.
Or trying to start to quarter things off like this is my area, you know what I mean? And
no, he actually was I felt inclusive as a worker, especially it was weird in the context. A lot of people don't know in the day anyway, like you had your contract guys and your non-contract guys, and it was like a hard divide of you're either in the cool kids club or you're not under contract. But Cody always made sure to be inclusive of guys who weren't under contract. You never got that vibe with him that he was one of the over contract guys. He was cool with everybody. So it's weird to hear that they're having infighting. And based on my experience, I do find it a stretch to feel like he would be the one to ignite that.
But on the other side of that, with the Bucks being pretty serious about their Christianity, and I worked with them for 2-3 years in 2CW. I never got that vibe from them at all either, bro. It was pretty and that's when they were making a fuck ton of money at Bullet Club and being the underground. They didn't walk around like their shit didn't stink, bro, and whatnot. They were always approachable. Matt's a little bit more congenial than Nick, maybe, but Nick wasn't a dick about things. I think he's just more the quiet one of the brothers, So that all is weird to me. And I had also heard that Omega, before he went on this big title run, which could be the FU to Cody to some degree, I guess, with them wanting to play politics, and that's just hypothetical of me saying that, but that he was checked out and didn't even want to do when the women's division was just brutally bad. He was more into sitting in his office playing video games and not having to do it because he just doesn't want to deal with it. And my point is this. We had one experience with Cody, but he had to go through all this WWE stuff, and maybe that changed him, but he also knows how to play high level fucking politics based on who he is, where he's been. And I don't think the Bucks and Omega ever were equipped to play those kind of games. So if those kind of games started coming up, maybe it was just the shutdown of communication of we're not going to do this, we're not going to play this, and this isn't us. And you do your thing and we'll do our thing. And doesn't that kind of seem like what's kind of been going on the last 4 or 5 months? You don't see Cody tied into being the elite angles. You don't see Omega and him kind of getting ready to square off. It's more about, Moxley and those guys, while Cody does his own stuff outside of there. Now that I look at it through that lens, you can really feel how the booking has kind of been. This is our property. This is Jericho's, and this is what we'll do that way. Not really what you want between your top office guys for camaraderie, but like you're saying, being on the show and being management is always a death knell.
Yeah, and you can't, you have to book for the show. You can't book for the wrestler or the angle necessarily. And that's hard when you say, okay, we're going to do our own thing over here. You can do your own thing over there. And so could, you know what I mean? That doesn't help with the flow of a show and writing it out. You know what I mean? I can't imagine how challenging that must be to, have to put everything together or make it make sense in the context of a show.
Absolutely. So interesting behind the scenes stuff there that, I sit on stories because I don't want to fucking, I got big respect for the Bucks and for Cody. Yeah. So I'm not, some things I thought might work themselves out, but once they hit the sheets, that's what the locker room's here for. We got to break it down. Break it.
I just hope for the sake of that locker room, because having more places to work is good for everybody. I hope they can, figure out a way to at least become cordial.
I think the opportunity is there. The Beast, like here's what AEW can do that WWE can't get over their own fucking megalomania and narcissism to do. They did it one time with Daniel Bryan and Kane, but why don't we do these sit down open dialogues to play into the sheets, even if it's fucking tongue in cheek, and we work it like in some type of group therapy of all of the owners, you know what I mean? Even if it's Khan and all of them in there and having to talk shit out and back and forth. And we get these kind of group therapy sessions where they are talking shit to each other, but the industry gets to look in on it, even if it's worked. I think that could be a fucking funny scene that the owners have to go to group therapy together to work on their communication skills.
It'd be interesting if they almost brought back a form of the GTV angle. You just get these hidden cameras, catching these conversations. And of course, I think it'd be also funny to do a nod towards, is it Gold Dust?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because that was what it was supposed to be. But then, that's an intriguing angle too, you get to see the backstage aspect, but then you can also work it into, some kind of angle for a big reveal of, who's trying to pull the strings. That's where you can either pull in, one of their, cross-promoted guys from Impact or Japan or like a truly a surprise and work into it that way possibly.
I like to see like Cody being how we know him, front facing and being, kind of a cool guy to everybody. But then even if it is a GTV, that we do get to see like a scene where he leaves that where, oh yeah, we're going to resolving our issues. And it was a good day of communicating. And then he goes and meets with Dustin and we see a really dark side, like fuck these fucking guys. And Dustin is coaching him on how to work them. You know what I mean? In a way, but there's really the dark car ride of wrestling politics. I think that could be super interesting, man.
Yeah. Very intriguing. Yeah. That's, I think there's a lot of money there. That's good.
And would get people into an ongoing storyline, and where Cody comes out and does all the babyface stuff, but we get something gets revealed where we see the dark side.
What I really want to see on AEW this week is have Chris Jericho talking, and then the zombie comes out of nowhere and he just sets him on fire.
I'm down with that too, man. Speaking of dark side of the ring, dark side of the ring, Mick Foley says the Brian Pillman episode hit him really hard. He was Hall of Famer Mick Foley watched Pillman's episode and noted he was the one who dropped Pillman off at the hotel before the pay-per-view that he passed away before. So I finally got the chance to watch the Brian Pillman episode on Dark Side of the Ring. My eyes were glued to the screen. Foley said it hit me hard. I dropped Brian off at the hotel he died in, and he was his scheduled opponent for the pay-per-view event he never made it to. So yeah, that's things like that we watch as entertainment. We forget of that there's actual people involved, that are watching that and are feeling a certain way about it. It was, I thought of, I feel some kind of way about the producers of that show. I won't get into it now, but this was a pretty good episode. And I thought Brian Pillman Jr. Came off looking great. You know what I mean? And emotional and really connecting to him and where he's going in his career. He's got all the opportunity and potential in the world, I think, to be as big a star, if not bigger than his father was. He's in a good spot right now to do it. His mother, and I'm not here to talking about the guy's mother over there, man, but his mother does come off kind of as like, a vindictive ex-stripper who did things that she can never apologize and enough for and get some sense of closure. And now, one way or another, him and his mom have some type of relationship where he was able to let go. But, with how she acted towards Brian's other wife, and even though Brian's not innocent in the infidelities by any means, and that woman taking her own life, I mean, that's just a lot to even I mean, the normal human can't consider living the rest of their life with that kind of stuff. So Brian Pillman Jr.'s mom comes off not looking good here, and her actions reap that, I guess. But that's also what Dark Side of the Ring specializes in making people look like shit.
That's true. I remember I saw not too long ago, I'm trying to work my way through the whole series because I was kind of late to the party on that. I saw the Bruiser Brody one, and it was interesting because I heard another, I guess part of the story. It wasn't really directly Brody related, but we had Scott Romer, who was a world-renowned wrestling photographer on FR, and he tells the story better. I recommend checking it out. But more or less, he was saying after that whole thing went down, they actually tried to work an angle with a guy from Japan who said he also got stabbed by Bruiser Brody, but it was obviously part of a work. And he even talked about how they even he really cut himself and got stitches and everything, but it was all part of a ploy, he believes, to get Brody to come to Japan so they could put the hit on him, but it ended up not working out. I was like, wow, now that's heat to, after a true life stabbing, to say, oh, he stabbed this other guy too, and try to get a match out of it. I imagine that. I mean, don't get me wrong, the heat would have for sure, I think, packed the crowd, but I can't help but feel like when Scott was saying that, yeah, it does sound like it was probably a setup to get him over there and take care of him.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Check out that Scott Romer episode. Is great. Dylan Bostic's on it too. And I believe the one and only Von Lilas as well on the Rip Rogers FR podcast, available at patreon.com/Hami Media Group. I also have Plaja working on It Don't Get No Better Than That shirt, Beast. So we are.
Oh, yes, good.
We are working on. He's going to put in some hours tonight. And shout out Al Plaja, our propaganda master, doing great work on video, as everything that's going on with Israel and Palestine and Colombia and alien disclosure. It's there's a lot of stuff coming in, man. So I appreciate all the staff as always, and trying to tweet a lot more. You'll see our Patreon stuff going out during all of the wrestling shows as we try and play into the live watch alongs and stuff, so we can really get some eyes on shows that should have tons of eyes on them, like the A Show with Damian Sandow, Aaron Stevens and April Hunter, or Stevie Ray TV, who's doing great stuff, especially in the moment, man. Some of his latest pieces have been controversial, but he's passionate, and you kind of can't take your eyes off it. And had another great episode last Wednesday before UFC 262 with Adrian Yanez, UFC MMA fighter, who's a great up-and-comer knockout artist. So just trying to open as many doors as possible and get eyes on it. So keep an eye out for him during whatever shows on Raw, Impact, AEW, NXT, and give us a retweet so we can stay in the algorithm and get wrestling fans the best content possible, man. So what else we got here? We'll talk about that. We'll finish with that. Renee Paquette on possible CM Punk return. TikTok, brother, let's go. This is weird. In a recent interview, Triple Game revealed that he had a conversation with former champion CM Punk over the past 2 years about a possible return. He said Game added that although the fans should never say never to Punk returning to WWE, the desire needs to be on all sides to make that happen, indicating the onus is on Punk to make the call and get the ball rolling. During an appearance on WrestleStink, Renee Paquette, former backstage colleague of Punk's, was asked about the relationship with Punk and whether the two sides can work together again. She says, I think it's just like anything else with WWE. Never say never. We've seen people come back who none of us ever thought would return. I think Punk is somebody who falls under that category at the end of the day. The guy's a wrestler. That's who he is. I feel like in some capacity, I hope we get to see Punk wrestle someone someday again. And I mean, he was back on that show after the bell and shit on WWE's fucking, I can't even remember what the stupid gimmick was, but and what was it, in 6 weeks, it went from 720,000 viewers where he was on there. And I think they went down to like 47,000 in like a month and a half. Yeah, bro. Like, if that doesn't tell you how that you're missing on so many levels, and that the people who are making these decisions need to be replaced by far more competent people like myself, yourself, and Russo brand, then what are we doing out here? And I know that I've heard that Fox isn't going to renew. So and because ratings are down, WWE's new strategy to sell their toxic property, because we had this meeting with Jacob Allman at Fox before they went live on air, saying you bought a bad property, and they're like, well, we know we have solutions. Their solution was to put Bruce and then Bischoff in the top spots, or Heyman and Bischoff, and how'd that work out for them? Both fired within 6 months, and ratings never made it. They wanted to be at a 3.5. They've never even made it close to a 3 after their debut. And now WWE says, well, ratings don't matter. So what are they trying to do? Sell their toxic property and creative of zombies to a streaming service. And that's their next move, to rape and pillage and sell for $1 billion, something that's not worth, a handful of dog shit most of the time. So it'll be interesting to see who bites on it, whether it's Amazon, Netflix. I mean, they're already on the cock, and Hulu is owned by NBC too. So, but CM Punk, I don't know where you see, I don't see him fitting in anywhere aside from Roman Reigns, maybe, as if he's the one to unseat Reigns. And is that,
you have to,
yeah, go ahead.
Right. You have to think from his standpoint. We all know CM Punk's the kind of guy who's only going to do something if he is interested in doing it, and he finds it, intriguing enough. And I don't know if that story necessarily is something that's going to draw him in. Granted, I'm not CM Punk. I don't know, but I can't imagine necessarily him finding that to be the one thing that, I never did get to work Roman Reigns. I want to come back.
Yeah, and can Punk beat Lashley believable? I don't think so. I don't think he can beat Drew believable either. They're just on a different scale visually, and not that Reigns is small or what have you, but Reigns' things are like with Cesaro, these long drawn out battles of, wars, where I like that he's now choking dudes out and leaving them laying. I think that's fucking good.
Yeah. I do like that too.
Instead of let the Superman punch and the spear be setups to knock it down. That match, I don't know if you watched that match last night, but Cesaro, they worked a ton of heat on his arm. But then, dude, he's throwing the uppercuts with the hurt arm and selling it. I'm going, why would you keep doing that? Why would you keep hitting him with your fucked up arm? You got to go to the story to me is you got to go to something else. Kicks, headbutts, fucking, something that's, or do the uppercuts with the other one and show that they're not as strong. But if your arm's fucked up, you're not going to keep throwing fucking shots with it that are, not going to land, and you got to sell after everyone. Maybe one of those, he must have done half a dozen to a dozen of them, bro.
Wow.
Yeah.
I only saw clips of it, so I didn't see, but yeah, that's, it's hard to justify.
Yeah, and the match was good, but every time after the heat was really locked in on him, and you saw that his arm was hurt, he kept going back to it. I was just like, ugh. And then they stepped on the business to AEW style. They had Reigns go over strong at the end, and then Jey Uso kicked the shit out of Cesaro one more time, and it should have been heels up. Instead, we got to hit fucking Seth Rollins music so he can come down in the douchebag suit and shirt, and then fucking get heat on Cesaro, who's already been beaten by Reigns and Uso. So what does that make Rollins look like? Just a spot picker for opportunity, but the guy's already been beaten down and choked out. So how tough are you to beat a guy who's already fucked over? If Cesaro had won and was up, and then he came down and stepped on it to start new business. Even that's too much for me because you're taking away from the moments that are the end of our pay-per-view to do this shit. Khan does it every show and it's wrong. But you know, here we are with WWE doing it. So it just was like you had him up at a high point and Seth Rollins getting his beauty shot at the end, beating down a guy who's already been beaten down by two dudes isn't much of a fucking heel heat, in my opinion.
Did they make it seem like he was going to fight Roman at first and then turn his attention? Or did he just come out?
Yeah, kind of, but like he comes down in the ring. They're like, there's a lot of heat between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, and they're pumping it up. And he gets in the ring, looks at him, and then just runs at fucking Cesaro. So there really wasn't like a big moment. And what heat do they have? They didn't even put over that these guys were in the Shield together, that they have a storied history of being tag partner. Like none of that got over, and they just shotgun the end business to fucking start Cesaro Rollins, which looks like, hey, we built Cesaro all the way up here, but now he's going back down to fight Rollins, a guy who can't get over with everything we've ever given him. We've made him Triple H light and put belts on him. That didn't work. He's Iowa's own. He's Seth freaking Rollins. He's the Beast Slayer, the fucking man's man, Iowa's own, like the Messiah. Not one of these things has ever gotten over at all. Now his new thing is to wear douchebag suits. So.
And I can't help but feel like if the business was to put heat on Rollins, why wouldn't he be the catalyst for the finish? You know, something where
perfect.
Uso tries to get involved, he gets ejected, and then it looks like Cesaro is going to have Reigns' number, and then that's when Seth can do some kind of fuck finish to make it then make sense that okay, he's got to go back to Rollins versus, like you said, just beating up a guy that's already down. To me, there's much more heat and taking away his opportunity to have the championship. And so that, to me, that would make more sense.
He doesn't even have to do anything except make an entrance to distract, to get him to look away. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, Beast, you're 100% right in that. That's where it should have happened. And the after heat beat down, after two guys beat you up and choked you out, not impressive, and really brought the pay-per-view hype moment at the end from an A down to a C level. Not good. Let's see what we got. MVP hinted that Lashley could be going on vacation to celebrate his victory. The champ has proven time and time again that he is the almighty champion. There's not a man in history who works harder than he does. If you go to his Instagram, see the workouts he posts, mortal men will drop and die again and again. He defended that title and shown the world that he is the almighty. Now it's time for a champion to enjoy the fruits of his labor, right? He says, look, I've got everything lined up. I've got your trip. Let's just say tomorrow that I've got some surprises for you to take a little time off. I mean, what is it with winning titles and going on trips? That's what Omos and AJ Styles went on a 3-week Caribbean vacation together, supposedly, I guess, after WrestleMania. That was the excuse they put out there, not the fact that they don't want to get a COVID vaccine, and that was heat.
Oh, I want to win a belt so I can go on vacation.
Well, you're the booker. Just fucking put yourself over.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. Now we're talking.
Now we're getting somewhere. Yeah, so I don't know, how is that supposed to draw any eyes to Monday Night Raw? He's the hardest working champ. He's going on vacation. Okay, well, I guess I don't have to tune in to fucking see him then.
Yeah, I mean, unless they're going to do an angle where, he's out and about and they show, him, enjoying his vacation and it leads to something. I don't know what even that would be.
Yeah, I know that's an option, but does that draw anybody either? Bobby Lashley on vacation. Oh, okay. Like, what the fuck, bro?
And that's where CM Punk's there, and he's just like, yeah, I'm on vacation too.
For the last fucking 5 years. Yeah, very strange that way. This one popped me because I knew you were going to be on it. Katarina Waters on her wrestling future.
Oh, shit.
The Other Side of the Ring documentary. After more than 20 years, Katie Lee, Katarina Waters, reflects on her journey through professional wrestling. The documentary, The Other Side of the Ring. The West German veteran is featured along with fellow WWE and Impact's alumni Shelly Martinez, independent star Delilah Doom, Keita Maggette, and Women of Wrestling known as Keita Rush. Maggette connected Waters with the film director and writer Jeremy Norrie. She says, to be honest, I haven't watched all of it now because I have resistance of watching myself. It takes me a while to overcome my fear and worry about saying something stupid. For me, the interesting part is I know the other women, but to get a deeper understanding of wrestling and their backgrounds and what their path was really like is interesting. Looking back at the past events, given her different perspective, how she broke into the biz, a time when 40-year-old recalled often wrestling men coming up because she was the only girl in the locker room. Yeah, dude, I gotta say, dude, I've had nothing but great interactions with Katie Lee, but I think back to that OVW time and how much behind her back people were kind of ribbing her because she was somewhat green in the ring. She's beautiful. Her accent is easy to understand, but exotic. And then she would do the cat eyes thing, which we all did to Pop because, you know, we all would do.
I remember the rib locker room was, oh, there it goes. She has hands. Oh.
Yeah, she has hands. Dude, even they tried to put her in the thing with Burchell where they were incestuous. That was interesting to some degree. It had some stakes to it, and she's just been a diva here and there. And then her wrestling did get better, and she is competent. She is OVW trained. So compared to a lot of girls on the indie circuit, she knows what she's doing, even though she was more of a valet or manager a lot of the time, man. But that was one thing I wanted to say about it, because some people would kind of shit on her for no reason, but she was another one who was never like a big leaguer. She was always cool to contract and non-contract people alike. And I always kind of felt bad when I'd see like fucking people kind of ribbing, but she had quite a career, man. And she was always very cool. And one of Twinkle Toes' favorites.
Katie Lee.
Yeah, dude. But shout out to the cat, Katie Lee, man. And check out that new documentary they got going on. I'm sure it'll be pretty cool. The Von Erichs comment on the possibility of WWE and MLW working together. Let's see. It's been reported that MLW and WWE are in negotiations for a possible working relationship. Von Erichs give their thoughts on the news. I saw that. I did see that. It's and I haven't got a chance to talk to anybody about it. Marshall admitted. I'm very curious about that and seeing how that even came about. I think Court's gonna look at it. I gotta believe it's Court Bauer. Obviously, had huge influence in WWE, and he'll see if it's in our best interest. He may talk to them, but Court's not going to be awestruck by the name or anything, and that's fucking important. MLW is his first priority, Marshall noted. We'll see what happens. I mean, we want to work with everybody, so if the Court wants us to if Court wants us to beat up some NXT guys or WWE guys, it doesn't matter. Bring them in. It'd be sick, but let's see what Court does. Let's see what the boss man says. Well, these guys putting the heat right back on, right on the boss, which is smart for them. And it could be very interesting in the crossover there. I definitely see some NXT crossover going on, but I was, like I said, this weekend on the show with the Samoans and Jacob Fatu. I believe he's with Joseph DeChavo, I guess the Almighty Sheik is how I know him, and their new crew is doing Contra. God damn it, what is it? Contra something. I can't fucking remember. Is kind of like the new Bullet Club and like an anti-establishment. Fuck that. So it'll be interesting. And I think about after this weekend, hey, where could Blaze Haram and Ben Hameen go work? And there isn't a lot of people in Maine who would put us on TV, but I think MLW is definitely one that would take a chance on us to do something controversial. And in the now, especially with Israel and Palestine going down again, we got our heat back automatically. So that MLW has definitely got my attention lately.
I can't help but think. I wonder if it will end up being a situation similar to Evolve, where they'll have some kind of working relationship, and it'll just lead to them getting bought out, because we know Vince isn't afraid to go in and still buy out companies like he did with Evolve, and so I don't know if that is a possibility of something happening. I personally don't necessarily want to see it, because the more places there are for guys to get paid wrestling is a good thing, and so to lose one from a takeover would certainly, I think, be at least from a wrestler standpoint, a tragedy. But I am very curious to see what, if anything, is going to happen with this relationship.
Yeah, I think this goes back to even when Triple H came to OVW, and he's working when he told us OVW will never close. It'll always be a WWE property. But I've heard the game wanted to make it like that, where you can send NXT guys out to Texas, to the Northeast, to wherever. And that's a lot better than just having them perform in one place in Florida in a factory system. Then you get to feel the difference in the crowds in different areas. And I think this could be Triple H in court working behind the scenes, if they had a good working relationship before, to kind of get these things done with Evolve and whatnot, because it probably got kiboshed by Bruce and Vince for whatever business reasons, but they're slowly, game smart as fuck. He's going to do what he needs to do behind the scenes to roll out the talk of it, and maybe that'll make it come true, and not just we're going to buy them out and make them into this, that, or the other. I think he's trying to rebuild the territory system through indies that are valid, and it's the same as sending OVW. It helps with the draw, we went through all this stuff, and I'd like to see that happen. I think that's a far better way to make seasoned performers instead of a factory crank them out system, because we've seen what that's yielded, ratings wise.
And I agree, that would be very exciting. And it goes back, Rip says something very similar. He said, wrestlers nowadays don't even have a chance to get good, because it's not like back in the territory days where you could, just bounce around. You're just in one company and working the same guy, same ring. And, it's hard to really expand your capabilities in that manner. Not to mention the fact that NXT already has a pretty bloated roster, and 2 hours of TV time isn't really even enough to feature all the stories and the characters that they have. So certainly having another place for guys and gals to go work where they can have more television time or ring time in front of an audience, I think that, as you said, I think that would be the best option, rather than just being bought out. If they can find a working relationship and send guys back and forth there and vice versa, I think that would be great.
Yeah, and I could see Killer Cross bringing in Contra Unit and having them be his backup out of nowhere. There's just a lot of great creative opportunities, but from the worker standpoint, and these kids who've just been signed and worked a couple regionals like I do, when I'm in Canada, it's like WWE 1993, 95 there. That's what the crowd's like. When I was in Jersey yesterday watching the show, I was like, this is strange, because I expect them to be way more hyped. So I knew I was going to have to interact with them on the outside without trying to pull too much focus from these guys killing each other in the ring to get them into it. Like, I really had to pull that performance out of them. Other places in the Northeast with 2CW, it's like ECW. Down south in OVW, it's completely, like it was 30 years ago, the same shit, or 50 years ago, really. Like, you can work very simple style and get over with them. And in Chicago, it's big smash mouth, dudes and moves that they want to see. So if you don't get a chance to, fortunately I have in building my 15-year career, to get to go work these places. And I'm sure Texas is different. I'm sure California, Northwest where I haven't been, is different as well. Some things are always going to work, but it's the pacing and how you feel it. And I learn something new every time I go and work in a new place, and what's their crowd like, and how I have to craft my skills in order to get the best performance out of myself, my partner, and to get the best reaction out of the crowd. And I think a deal like this with MLW is only going to help NXT talent.
Yeah, I think it's a win-win situation if they can come to that kind of agreement, honestly.
Yeah. Our final story today, I don't even have any copy up, but we all know it, man. And we did a 10-bell salute right after, and that was the rib. Like, we walked away for the fucking national anthem, and then we walked back for the 10-bell salute for New Jack at the show, man. So huge, name in our business. New Jack passing of a heart attack, I believe 58 years old. This past weekend, or right before the weekend anyway, man. It's no secret that New Jack lived the most extreme life, whether it was being open about his cocaine use and whatever else, party drugs wise, or just cutting the most real promos, or taking out a knife and cutting you in the ring as well. You can watch that dark side of the the Ring episode if you want. But you know, once that Dr. Dre and Ice Cube Natural Born Killers music hits, man, it was a different time in ECW, and you know, he just come down with a bucket full or a trash bin full of weapons after somebody got beat, and do the dance and fucking strut down and pick the guitar up, strum it, or play the keyboard and then fucking drill somebody over the head with it, or jumping off a basketball backboard. I saw him do that live at the Burt Flickinger Center in November to Remember to Axel Rotten. And dude, Axel was on the table and it was like nothing was even there. They just crashed into the fucking basketball court so hard. So, and that was like, you know, you can see the ECW opening in your mind now with him jumping off the fucking upper deck up there and just taking insane chances that the world had kind of never seen in wrestling before. And that kind of became his thing. I also enjoyed his promos with Mustafa, with the Gangsters. I always just used to love Mustafa in the background going and making noise to back up his promos and shit, man. Just a really, the true rawness of ECW was the Gangsters and New Jack. Unfortunately, I never got to be on a show with New Jack, and fortunately, I never had to work with him. So in the ring to get stabbed or any shit like that. So, but you know, a lot of people this weekend, that was the word on, you know, a lot of people's minds that way. And even Blaze Around, when he wrapped his hands, wrote New Jack on there because we were going into a hardcore match, you know. So pretty interesting stuff for us this weekend to pay homage to him. But yeah, man, do a lot of drugs and live hardcore. You're gonna die young, man, but you're gonna leave a legacy behind possibly that you know, people will be talking about for 100 years in our business now.
Certainly so. It's always tragic when one of our fellow wrestling brethren passes away. And as you said, he certainly left his own mark. He was certainly a wrestler where when he came out, you didn't know what was going to happen. It was, and I think probably for his opponents, they thought the same thing. But that also, I think, added to his intrigue from a fan perspective because they knew he also turned the volume all the way up to 10. He knew who he was, and he put himself out there for better or worse, and he captured a lot of people's just imagination or attention, and was able to keep them entertained, and was willing to sacrifice his body for the entertainment of anyone that was paying their hard-earned money to see him in action. And that's you know, something that you can't take away from his legacy. And either way, he'll definitely be remembered, and someone that I think absolutely, as you said, was part of the heart and soul of ECW, and certainly for all those fans that you know, got to see him throughout his career over the years, as well as just the wrestling world in general. He will be missed.
Absolutely. Shout out to the Gangsters. Shout out to New Jack, man, and always. Definitely going to remember it as a cornerstone. When you think ECW, there's no way you can't think about the crazy shit that guy brought to this business, man. And some people will take it too far. And this is my shout to indie guys. You want to pay respect to him, okay? Let's not do some fucking dumb shit that's going to get you hurt, cut up, and take you out of it. Let's be smart. I don't want to see 98 fucking fluorescent light bulb spots in the next week. Like you're doing something for Jack. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah, if we're gonna do violence, let's do it, but fucking let's be smart about it, not just to get our shit in on some DJ Hyde CZW style shit.
If you want to pay respect, just stay home and gig your forehead. And
absolutely, man. But Beast, that's everything for our Monday Locker Room. I appreciate you riding with me as always, dude, and I'm super glad to be back on the road, and great to see you guys having such a great weekend, HMG style, out there with Rick's new venture, dude. What do you got going on this week? What can we do? I know ODB stuff coming up, Rip Rogers stuff is up, and you're just kicking ass, man.
Yeah, trying to keep myself busy. I might even buy some crypto today since it's down, the Tesla stuff. Let's see. Also, I'm still training across the bridge here in Louisville over at Jeffersonville, Indiana. Got a class tonight. We'll be working with them. Been working more on defensive pins. Trying to think what else. I'm just trying to stay busy, man. Like I said, we're recording with ODB today. That'll be a lot of fun, and just continue to keep the ball rolling.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate everything you're doing. It's going to be an exciting year ahead with all the clients that we have, and as we start to build out Realm Network into a huge entity, 4 or 5 times bigger than it already is now. Glad to have people that I know I can trust to shoulder the high level production and get the performance out of people that we need to make great content for all of our HMG and Russo brand listeners, man. But yeah, we don't need to squat today. We did enough squats this weekend. That's fine with me. What have I got going down? Just a full week of production here at HMG. You guys can check out all the shows on YouTube or on patreon.com/Hami Media Group as we still have a long way to go till we can get everything transferred over and set up the right way to make it easy to find for you guys. But again, appreciate Blaze Haram, the one true son of Allah, this weekend going over strong on Ranger Rick Recon. Too easy to crush these infidels. Back on the road, infidels. You can find us everywhere on social media. Retweet all those Hameen Media Group properties so we can beat the shit out of the algorithm. And then we're going to come to your town soon in the independent organization and beat the shit out of your favorite wrestlers, because it's the Monday Locker Room, Dr. Ted, the Booker Supreme, and the Eid IED Hacker Hameen infidels blowing up the spot. Yallah.